Jenny with Planet Perfect, and today I am answering your questions on how to live your best life for 2020. Let's not waste another second and get right to it. Okay, you guys, I asked my IG friends what they'd like to see in this video, and asked me some questions on some tips on what on how they can live their best life in 2020. So I've got some of the things down, grabbed some questions. My next will be, I will do a sequel to this and ask my fans group on Facebook and do another Q&A too on living your best life, as well as you're going to see so much fun new stuff. Let's dive right into the questions. One gal who asked me about my skincare, what do I use? I'm gonna be in my 40s here. What do you do? What do I do for my skin? Well, I am 47. I'll be 48 in January. And hands down, it's my diet. So living from my 20s to now, I'd have to say my skin is the best it's ever been. I was very prone to breakout all the time. My skin was really bad actually and in my 20s and 30s, and my diet was also not great. So I am whole food plant-based, and I had done that for over a year and a half. About 6 months ago, then I dropped it once I started working out, and then I'm back to whole food plant-based because I feel my best when I am eating this way. My skin, let me tell you some things that happen to me when I do go whole food plant-based. When I go whole food plant-based, all my cravings are squelched, and it's just a phenomenon. Okay, so it's like then I found out the scientific reasons why, but I do lose my cravings. Now, when I try to eat well and wholesome and try to eat, good, I tend to stray. I tend to, I have cravings, or I don't stay as faithful to how I know I should eat. When I go to whole food plant-based, I have a guideline, and that is they're whole foods, and the least processed is what I'm after. So I just noticed that my skin started to completely clear up. I quit breaking out. My PMS was really, really well until now. I just got back onto the whole food plant-based, and my perimenopause is really, I can tell my periods are just kind of like, my PMS in particular is what I'm noticing the most, is that I'm just like, I'm noticing that, but I know full well that I will transition really well eating this way because my periods themselves are phenomenal. They're just lighter. They're not as painful. I also, of course, lost weight. I lost 30 pounds initially the first round ago I went. I will talk about my whole vegan diet in another video. If anything that you hear in here that you would like to hear more of, just leave a comment below. I'd love to do that for you. Lost 30 pounds. So that's an amazing perk. And again, the skin, my skin is clear. Also, I have had a really big problem with dry skin, and that went away, being whole food plant-based, especially my feet. I've talked about that. I have the kind of feet where I could literally walk on coals. And once I start eating plants, my skin on my feet is like a baby's butt. It's truly phenomenal. I feel it's the micronutrients I'm hitting. So that's a perk. I also would have problems with eczema. Once I took out, when I went whole food plant-based, eczema went away. So it's just one of those things where it has proven time and time again to not only feel amazing, but I really look my best. So that is my skincare tip. In terms of what I do use though, I'll use natural stuff, like we're talking Burt's Bees, Alba, I think the name is, just stuff that I can buy at like Target for not very much money that has like 3 ingredients on it, and I'm good. So that's what I've been doing, but my skin's nice already. I just, care for how I take off my makeup and what moisturizer I put on it. So I care about that. So This is a little bit of a deeper one. I'm not going to be able to really expound upon it as much here as well. One of the reasons is why, because I haven't had the experience. But someone did ask me when a parent passes, what are the step-by-step process of really getting the steps to getting past this or going through it. And I don't feel as qualified to talk about it as much just because of lack of experience. But I will say that my husband has experienced both being gone, and it's traumatic. It's traumatic, I'd have to say, from seeing my husband go through it. Now, I think that one of the things I want to press upon is first forgiveness. So if you have anything with them that you need to forgive or move on from, it's so important to face it and forgive. That was one of the things that, whether they're alive or if they're not, that is one of the hugest things you can do for yourself and for everyone involved, is just to release that and to forgive. Also grieving. It's just important to take that time to look at the grief and to feel it, and then that way you can let that go. It helps to, because I know that for me, facing my fears and looking at it head on was the only thing for me, or to look at a problem head on helped me heal from certain ailments I had. It's only when you take a thing that you think about a lot and don't look at it at all and push it down, then it keeps arising and arising and arising. And those are the one kind of problems where they just don't go away, that they keep coming up. We're not talking about like a negative thought. We're talking about a deep-seated, whether it be grief, fear, whatever, guilt, anything from before in your past. Once I really just said, I'm here, and it was a practice of where I really just sat in quiet and almost like a meditative type of pose. And I said to me, I said, I am here, I am present. What do you need to show me? And what do I need to do? Only then can you process it and integrate it back into you. The more we stuff, the more it'll manifest in your body. So whether it's grief, fear, sadness, whatever, it's important to look at it and to take the time to look. We always kind of want to slough it off, move it away, not think it, not look about it when those deep-seated type of thoughts keep coming up, and we don't want to take the time to look at it. And instead it comes across as, when you don't process it, they pop up, and then you talk about it, and you talk about it, and you talk about it like in a negative way to your spouse, or, they come up and then you feel a certain way and it affects your whole life. So it's best that you look at it, process it, and you clear it, and you're able to integrate that back into your life in a whole state. Now you're whole, and then the loop goes away. I did that. I don't know if you know this, I'm going to do this in another video as well, but I've had ringing in the ears. And I always noticed I had one bout of it where it actually then had dissipated. And the second time around, it came back. And I was like, oh dang. And it's one of those things where it was like one ear was magnified with, I could hear noise, everything was robotic. It's so mind numbing that it'd be real easy to slip into a depression. And so what I did with this second time is through prayer, and when I say prayer, I'm meaning where you are giving it to God and you're releasing it, and that's a step that you do, not a plead of please take this away, because we're not talking to a man sitting in a chair in heaven somewhere in the clouds. This is God we're speaking about, who is everywhere and everything, and he is and has set already everything in motion for your body to heal itself. Everything that you are wanting and needing is already a finished work. It's really the things that we are bringing these things into our lives. And so through prayer, we can release resistance. And so a good, just thanking God for what he's done, thanking God for the healing, asking God to reveal to you what you need to know, what resistance you have if you're having trouble finding it. So I really had to sit down and, again, in more of a meditative state and say, I'm here. What do I need to know about anything, about feelings that I have that I don't consciously, I'm not even aware of? What do I need to look at? And I really had some issues that I didn't even realize I had, and they just came up. And I really had to work through those and cry over it. I had to lock myself up in a room, but I had to really cry over it. I had to release it, and I had to forgive. And when I did that, lo and behold, I will tell you, within a week, my ear ringing is completely gone. Now, you look up tinnitus anywhere and it'll say it's with you forever. I mean, for the most part, unless it's, and I haven't been around loud planes. Okay, so I knew that it was something that, it's just a matter of, I knew that I needed something to cleanse myself of and to release myself of and to unclog my flow. My chakras, I needed to really clean some things out mentally and physically and get realigned. So that is how I can impart and share of what I know and how it relates to me. So I hope that that's helped in some level. Where do I get the inspiration for the recipes for my vegan diet? Well, I've been really vegan for, let's say a couple years total. So there's so much on the internet. I do like to stick to simple. I followed Dr. John McDougall, and that was more of a starch solution. So it's just easy and basic. It's like rice, beans, potatoes, baked fries. It's kind of like you're just cycling through all these great things. I've only now begun to just go through more elaborate. I want to get into more grains and look into those. But keeping it simple is all where it's at too. But anywhere you can find recipes everywhere. I just showed you too on my IG stories, my Instapot and my vegan cookbooks that I got for Instapot. So I'm really excited for that. So, yeah, you can really find them and get excited about all the inspiration you can find anywhere on the internet. But I also have some, I will have to say, when I went first vegan, I have so much recipes, not a whole bunch, but a great big handful of some vegan recipes that are tried and true and so amazing and delicious. You guys know, on my plannerperfectmeals.com blog, these recipes are tried and true. This isn't like, okay, I tried this once and give it a go. No, these are tried and true. And I'll tell you what, these vegan recipes that I tried are tried and true. plannerperfect.com, type in vegan, and those recipes will pop up. So, bam. When you want to grow and make changes, but you don't have the support. Let's talk about this for a minute. This is a big one. We're going into 2020. I did ask for more specifics on this particular question, and she did say that she had suffered a heart attack and she really wants to make some changes. She wanted to go whole food plant-based, even according to, I think her doctors. And so how can she wanted to know how she can best make the transition, even though her husband, who is the cook and she works outside the home, won't really accommodate her. And basically he's an Italian, loves food, and he doesn't understand, and he's not on board with that. Maybe he doesn't believe it, that that's what she needs to do. Whatever it is, here's the big answer to this, and it applies to everything. You're going to find that this thread has been that I'm going to share right now. Listen up, girls, because this is what you need to know, because it is life. This is the biggest lesson that Jenny here has learned in living, loving, learning, growing, and being married. Okay? So, and that is, you don't depend on anyone else for those kind of changes that you're making. Whew, did that not just relieve you of all your stress? Do not ever depend on anyone for your goals. When I set goals, I don't even really tell anyone in my family or even my husband, unless if it's a personal goal, okay? Personal. Maybe it's weight, health, something like that. I don't go, hey, guess what, guys? To like my husband, I'm going vegan. My husband just will be like, why are you eating like kale and rice every day? He'll like pick up on it, and I'm like, well, this is what I'm doing. And I don't even really share with anyone outside the family even, unless they begin to like, start querying, or maybe I get excited and tell someone, but you kind of leave yourself up to being subject to, judgment or people not agreeing with you or whatever. And sometimes you just don't need that kind of unsupportness. When it comes to, is that a word? But when it comes to that kind of situation, it all boils down to, you got to take care of yourself anyways. You do. You're really on your own here, and it's a good thing. You don't want to be dependent on someone else to provide you with what you need. Just period. You just don't. You don't want to be dependent on someone to do this certain thing for you and your life depends on it. Or it'll help your mood if they do. No. This is just you, girls. This is you. This is you in 2020 and what you're going to do, because guess what? When you do you change the world. It filters then through you, filters and ripples out to your family, and then it begins to ripple through the world, okay? So it all begins with you, and it starts and ends with you. How you feel, who you are, what you know, where you're going, and where you're headed. You don't need anybody to do something for you to be your best. You just don't. Actually, and I get it, it's your husband, and in this instance, it was her husband, and so obviously he's going to know, especially since she went through some health issues and things like that, where you're married and all of that. But for the most part, you're not going to want to depend on anyone. So would it be nice if he was helpful and did that? Heck yeah. And wow, what a perk, what an amazing thing that is. And that could happen later. But you can't make people do anything for you. You can't control them. So what do? You don't. Okay, so you are going to prepare your own meals. You're going to get up early. You're going to prepare your meal. And you're going to bring your meal. To eat vegan is super, super easy because it's just real food. Bring a banana, apple. You've got your whole grain crackers. You've got some wheat Ezekiel toast with an avocado that you spread on with tomato and sprouts and splash of balsamic. You've got everything you need to be a healthy version of you and to be your best girl in 2020, hands down. Girls, I can't share it enough. I can't even share it enough. I even can get harassed from my hunting husband who, he's like, why? And I'm like, I just do you, okay? I love and support you for what you're doing, but I'm going to do me. I know how I feel good. I know what I look like when I'm eating well and how I feel, what my body feels like, and I'm sticking to this. I do me, you do you. And my husband comes around. He'll be like, okay, tell me more. You inspire people when you don't put anything on them, when you don't push, when you just live your own life. That's how you inspire. And so, man, get supercharged because you have all the control here. I don't care if you do work outside the home. It might take you a couple more minutes in the morning, might take some more brain work to write all this out, but you got to do you. And this applies to everything in your life. Only you can be more spiritually developed. You have to read yourself. You have to study. You got to read the words. You got to do here. You got to do there. You can only be the one to go take the walk. Only you can do certain things, and that's a good thing because it's in the realm and the sphere of your control. So take your power back, get on this whole food plant-based diet, let your husband off the hook. If he feels bad, she had mentioned that he feels bad if she doesn't eat his food, you just lovingly tell him, please honey, give me this time. And don't feel bad. I love you, but I have to eat this way. I had 2 heart attacks. This is serious, and I want to live a long life for you. And that, how do you not understand that? If he doesn't, then oh well. Okay, just keep going with your vision and get a pen and paper. Get in your Planner Perfect planner. I mean, it's like you start in those December goals. Just get in the back pad, in the back even, and start just scribbling out your brain dump of different foods you want to try. Stick with me. I can share with you ideas of some great, amazing vegan foods, whole foods, unprocessed, great ways for you to feel great and stick to this diet too. So I got you covered. Bam. You've got my support. Let's do this. Girl power. Moving on. How do you get over guilt when you put yourself first? Here's the deal with this one too. You get over it because of the magnitude of the blessing and the benefit of putting yourself first. That's why. There's two different types of women, I believe. I'm just going to put them in two different categories for the sake of this question. There's the women that, and I know them, and I love them both. I love both of them. Okay, they're both types. There's the kind who firmly believe that everybody comes first, and then there's the type that believes that they come first. Okay, let's dissect that for just a second. Mind you, I'm starting to get a little roasty. Okay. Okay. The first one is the one that is giving of herself and putting herself on the back burner. I've been that girl before, okay? I've been that girl before. Now, not to an extreme level, but I have where I would put my talent on the shelf thinking that motherhood was my calling. Okay, now that's, again, another video, and I've done videos on that before. But once I understood that I needed to pull myself off the shelf and begin to integrate my desires, my likes, and my gifts and my talents, then did my life start moving in a forward momentum in terms of development, okay? So that holds true in here with everything. A lot of women even put their looks on the back burner, their teeth on the back. I even had my husband tell me, I love him. He told me he has 2 teeth that suffer, and he said, and he wanted to martyr me out on this. And I was like, no. He wanted to say, well, you guys get your teeth done. No. Go get your freaking teeth fixed, okay? Don't play martyr. Just go get them fixed, okay? I mean, go get your teeth cleaned, okay, in the very least. I mean, let's go get them cleaned. It doesn't mean we have to be under a dentist care where we've got to buy, we got another filling or that. There's natural ways and we can take care of ourselves. We don't have to be in, I'm not talking about that. But if you've got something wrong and you need to go get checked, but yet you're using martyrdom as an excuse, don't, okay? It's not good. No one looks good that way. Don't be a martyr. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Take care of your diet, take care of your skin, take care of your how you look, wear clothes that you feel good in, take the time, rise early, walk when you can, do things that benefit you, because the woman that doesn't do that is coming from a point of lack. And so you can't give very much. I know for me that when you come from a place of that, and I don't feel very good about myself, or if I'm feeling fat, sick, and tired, then I'm not at my best and my mood isn't my best and I don't treat people my best and I can't offer my best. You come from, and take this note into very big consideration. Everyone in your family knows that you're tired, depressed, or driven by guilt, or your vibes. Everyone feels a vibe. Everyone feels a vibe. What kind of vibrations are you sending when you come from a place of tired, barely dressed, not looking your best because you've got things to do and you're busy? We're talking as a all the time, okay? Not once in a while. I'm talking about as a main way of living. If you are always putting yourself last, that vibration is felt and sent out. And no one is going to want to emulate that. No one. Because the vibration, they might not even be able to pinpoint it and say, no one's going to say, wow, now that's inspiring. She's putting herself last and she does it for her family. But when they see that what the end result is, no one really, they'll just maybe say, wow, you're great. But at the same time, they wouldn't want to do that because the vibration is of fatigue or tired or not your best. Because let me tell you, when the woman who cares for herself and puts herself first, that's filling yourself up. That's filling yourself up with God's word, God's promises. You're clearing negative thoughts every morning and you're replacing negative with all the good. by focusing on the good. You're being grateful, working in your gratitude journal. You're planning your life and how you want it to be, not what you have to do, but you're actually planning and scripting a life that you've been inspired to live, that God's inspired you. You know, God lives through you. God wants to manifest through you. That's the only way God can, is through us. And so he is in us. And so we need to listen and be inspired and be in the right vibration so we can hear him. And then we inspire that and write it down and we live that kind of life. So you want to begin to take steps, and this is going to be another video as well, but you want to be able to take steps in self-care, because when you feel good, you then relay that to others. You respond well to others. You offer more. You can give more. You could play a game with your kids longer because you feel good. You could go out for coffee on a whim because you feel good. When you feel good, you can be there for others. When you don't feel good, you recede. When you feel good, you're forward. How can I help? What can I do? Where can I be? All of that. You know why? Because you care for yourself. When you care for yourself, when you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, you're there for your babies. You can run around everywhere because you're fit. You're more fit. You can play tag. You can do all these kind of things. I think one of the biggest things for me in my life that has ever happened to me in revealing of God's nature is my children. Hands down. Children are so playful. Children are so innocent. Children are so naive to, I don't even want to call it naive. They don't think of things that can go wrong. They only think of what's right now. They think right now in this present moment, I am super happy. And even when they're not happy, that passes fairly quickly. I mean, they're back on to being happy. They really want to, like us, but our paradigms have changed to not what is now to what if and oh my God from behind. So, you know, I don't want to get too lengthy in this video and go on and on and on, but just so you know that when you care for yourself and you make that shift in your mindset, knowing that if you don't fill yourself up first and come from a place of overflow, then you will be giving from a place of a deficit. You don't want to ever hide back. You want to be in the light. You don't want to be in the dark because you don't feel good or you're insecure or you know you haven't cared for yourself in a long time and you've let yourself go, so you recede. You want to be in the light. You want to be out there. You want to share. You want to give. And the only way you can do that is by caring for yourself. And you have to put yourself first. You just do. You have to put yourself first, where you care enough about your family and you want to live long, okay? You want to live long. You want to be there for people. And so when you do that, you're caring for yourself, you're taking that walk, you're working out, or you're eating well and you're making it a priority. And when you eat well and you come from a place of being inspired by that, then it's easier to do. It's just easier to do. You're not using willpower, you're using inspiration. So always come from a place of wellness and filling up your cup first, and you'll naturally lose the guilt. Cut the guilt, cut that thought by simply moving from that type of life to this type of life. Don't even contemplate, how do I get rid of guilt? Well, the way to get rid of guilt is to just live a different way, and then that will dissolve itself. Because just like when you're in the dark and you just flick on a light and it's light and it lights up the room, you didn't have to go and try to push the dark out or like, how do I get rid of this darkness? You just flick on the light. So instead of living that way, you just live this way and you get in the light. So get up early, get dressed, feel good, put on something that looks good and feels good to you, where you feel good. Read the word, take time to meditate, take time to write in a gratitude journal so you get your mind in the right place every morning. And begin to script your dreams and your goals and really live and thrive versus just barely getting by. And it's a game changer. So flip on the light of your life and be who you're truly called to be. Okay, so there we go with that question. We got another one. How to jumpstart your fitness goals and keep your promises to yourself year after year. You know, when I had been a girl who had the desire, of course, I had so many children. I had 12 pregnancies, and I have 8 children. And so, you know, naturally we get into this kind of thing where how do I lose this weight? I thought about wellness wrongly for all those years, but I didn't know. So I don't even hold myself accountable. So, but it's just a part of the journey. But I do know this, once I made a switch that was inspiring, and that's only then when I heard about whole food plant-based, did a light switch go on, and I was like, yes. And then I began to work out. Mind you, I got a little obsessive, I will have to say, about the workout. I worked out way too much to the point where I exhausted myself, to the point where I couldn't even keep my eyes open. And I then had blamed the vegan diet for that, instead of looking at my obsessive working out. And so I've actually taken a break from working out and will come back to it. Caused a little bit of a stress within the family, and you know, it was just one of those things where it's just, I found that my best mode of operation right now is to take a chill, get back to just whole food plant-based. And before it was macros and working out and protein. I about drove myself crazy. I just was like, no, this isn't for me. But I love it because it's part of the journey, and I know what doesn't work and I know what does work because I'm a human guinea pig. I'm a girl of change like crazy. If you guys know me at all at any length of time, I am totally a girl who loves change, and I will change in a degree of, some things are a big time constant for me, obviously. But when it comes to certain things for making my life even richer, I'll try it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So, yeah, I did that. I tried it. I just, okay, macros, proteins, this, and I ate like crap, and I didn't feel any better, and I gained some of my weight back. I did gain muscle. I gained like 10 pounds overall. But I'm already going back down little by little here, just going back to whole food plant-based. But anyway, my point is I didn't like working out so extensively. So I cut back for right now. What you want to do is basically go by your inspiration. When you're inspired, you don't need the willpower. You want to do it because it makes you feel good. And so you're inspired to do that. Any other way of eating and style of eating, so you got to decide what is best for you. You got to do your own research on it, so you're convicted, and then you will see the way you sustain. This was the only way of eating that I sustained because I lost cravings. Any other style of dieting, whether it's low calorie, I was starving all the time, and so it causes you to lose your willpower. When I went keto, I craved chocolate 24/7 and was spraying the whipped cream bottle in my mouth all day long. When or making sugar-free chocolate pudding. How good is that for you? Okay, and then, so this was really just the only style where I lost my cravings, and so therefore lost the fight. I won the fight. I didn't lose. I lost my cravings, and so there's nothing that I'm desiring outside of what I'm already getting, and so I feel fantastic, and I feel full while still feeling thin. And now that was weird. I was like, wow, I'm like totally full, and I'm not craving anything, and I ate but I feel thin. Do you ever, that's a weird way of even, it's like an awesome, you want that. But whenever I felt full before, if I ate like just a typical type of meals, if I felt full, then I felt guilty because I was like, well, I probably overate then, or I felt fat, or it was horrible. The best way to feel good about what you're going to do and stick to your goals is, number one, by writing them out. Okay, so write them out in your goals, what you want to do, and give it thorough detail of how you want to live. Be convicted and be inspired by it. If you need to make changes, then make your changes and move on. Sometimes you've got to go there. Sometimes you've got to make changes. Sometimes you got to tweak. Sometimes you got to move it. That's why these planners are great, because they go month by month. You'll see what you sustain on, and that's what's going to take you, and you keep going. But sometimes you don't know until you do at least experiment. So experiment. Try it on yourself. Try it on your body. See what you feel like doing. Look things up. Get supercharged. Let God lead. Say, God, what do I want to do? What's the best method for my body? I remember when I did that, I was alerted and brought to the whole food diet. And then I got kind of led astray by certain things and got into the protein shakes and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, no. And again, let God lead, because it'll break away. You'll save time. Okay. So if you just ask the question before you go to sleep, say, God, lead me to how I should really be eating. And then he'll show you, because you get an idea, or something will pop up, or it'll be landing in your lap. Do it that way. You'll save a lot of time. That's how I stick to what I want to stick to, that is worthwhile for me to stick to. And what works for me is by really asking the question. I've gone the long route and I've gone the short route. Definitely the short route's the way to go, instead of just trying to hunt around. When I do it my way, and I look through things and I educate myself over and over and over and over and over and over and over till my eyes bleed, when I could very well be doing something else with my time, that's when I'm doing it myself, and I'm not leaning to the God who could just easily just tell me. So, and he leads by just giving you ideas, and he leads by putting something in your lap. So just remember that, girls. Cut through it all. Ask God the question. He'll give you the answer, and you'll know exactly what to do. You'll be inspired, and then you'll move, and just move. When God tells you something, you move. And you know why? How you know it's God? Because you feel led. It's been brought to you. It's an idea, and it's positive. You know that's from God. That is like that's your intuition. It's the Holy Spirit, as they call it. That is God leading. So you're going to want to take that shortcut version every time in your life, and that's what will keep you going and keep you inspired. Okay, so how do you make time for yourself with a busy schedule, and use the method? I only use the method, and I am a very busy mother. I would have to say, I'm very, 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 you got to know what you want first off. You got to know what you want in terms of how you want to live. That's very, very important. I know for me, there's certain things and people I have in place so that I can still be where I want to be with my kids, like throughout. I don't want to compromise that. For me, that's just one of my personal goals, is I want to be here. I want to be present. I want to be most of the day where I'm devoted to them and their well-being and education during the day. And so having that, of knowing my desire and doing that everything I set out to do then is everything that I set out to do with that goal in mind then are the steps that I take to keep that goal and that desire in place. So I hire out the people that I need to do certain things. I acquire what I can do just by being led to who can help me with my goals. Everything just really pops into play for me by first knowing what I want and how I want to live, and then everything comes to me to help me accomplish my own goals. So the very first thing you need to know is what is your desire. So if you're really, really busy and you want to use a method, well, if you're busy with your business, then your business and the method are very interchangeable. So if you are working, what are you going to do in the mornings to remember to fuel yourself in the mornings? So that is huge. What are you going to do in the evenings? What are you going to do for dinner? What are you going to do in the weekends? What are those details? How do you want to live? What are your goals? What are your desires? Remember, a lot of women out there do not even really know what they want. Do you know what you want for 2020? Do you know where you're headed? Do you have your goals? Do you know how you want your body to look? Do you want to live in the same place? What are some really things, if you had no ceiling, what are some of the things you would want for yourself and your family for 2020? I mean, if you really, and you got to really be detailed, not like, oh, I'd love to have more money. That would be great. Well, how much money is that? And what do you plan on doing with that? Or, what are some of your talents, and how can you use them and integrate them more in your everyday life? How can you integrate more journaling in your life so that you can feel enriched and pass that on? How can you up your faith and work on better habits so that you are flipping on the light of your life and putting more good on squelching out any negativity? So those are the kind of things you want to really think about, and the method will really help and aid you in this new way of thinking, this new paradigm shift. And that really is, you are scripting a life that you want to live. And it's not even it's not even seen yet. You are really living a life that God wants you to live because you're being inspired. You're filling yourself up. You're getting inspired. Every single morning when I get up and I am sitting there and I'm by myself, that time is so sacred, and I have my coffee and I'm really just quiet and I'm being still. I'm telling you what, I get ideas. And that is God. He is working through me and it manifests itself. He is making an appearance. That is how he presents himself, is through us. And he wants to make a demonstration, and he works through ideas and people and giving you that sixth sense. That is just like, it's like, yeah, that's it. You move. And I do it every time. Every time I get, I'm on it every single time in my life. I really need to write a book on it because it's been so powerful in my life to be able to, I don't even have a doubt. Like, I don't even have a doubt. Like, well, of course this is going to work. I mean, duh. I just never even think that something's not going to work. And even if it's something glitched, I don't fret because I know that then, there must be something better. That's why that glitched. And I just let that go. It's just, you really got to just step by step it, girls. This method, when you start scripting out life, like, no, instead of looking at life like, and you're working in your planner and you're like, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Where's my to-do list? Instead of that, it's like, how do I want to live? How do I want to wake up? What am I going to wear? What am I grateful for? What's a verse that I can hold on to today that's going to remind me that God is good and my life is good and the world is good? How am I going to change my thoughts? Because I know that how I think actually produces things. So what we think about, our subconscious mind actually begins to set work into turning everything you do then into that possibility and that action. It literally begins. And so focus on good, create the life that you want, know what you want, script that out every day, whether you work or not. I have another video on working busy moms. I'll link that below if that'll help you more. Thank you for that question. I've got one more question I'm going to touch on. I'm going to have to do a second sequel. This video is getting a little long. But the last but not least, because it's a funny and a great one. But one lady asked, how do I deal with a husband who's messy and I want to strangle him? I love it. I think we all can relate. I have shared many times what I've done. Number one, I really don't have a messy husband per se. He's kind of a clean guy. So #blessed. But there's been some things that, of course, that, when I do things that bug him, and I'm always like, I don't care what you think because I clean it up anyways. Okay. So, but we get it. It's like, what do you do when your husband leaves a mess? Or my husband happens to be kind of a hoarder. So that is always bugged. So he's like, I'm going to save this. Or he'll pull food out of the garbage and say, you know what, someone may want this chicken wing. I'm like, you know what, if you don't throw that in the garbage right now. No, I get it. I've come from a point of where I get it, right? What you're going to want to do is, again, this goes for anything, girls. This is my mantra, and I live it, and I love it. I live it, and I love it. I live it, and I love it. Take heart. Do not depend on anyone to even keep things tidy in the house. Don't even look at it as though it's his job. Then you're saying to yourself, oh, great, so I'm his maid. So just make a mess, and I'll clean up. I get it. But whenever my mind starts thinking, oh, here I go, I'm going to pick this up. I'm making sure his jeans are nicely and over a hanger, and I do this and that. My husband does a lot of things for me too. He does. He does a lot for me too. It's not a quid pro quo though. I don't base what I do on what he does for me. It's just a gratitude reminder. Like, you know what? Thank you, God, that my husband takes care of my vehicle, because I don't even know what that light means, and I'm pretty sure he'll catch it. Okay. He'll go and take my car randomly and go fill it up with gas, knowing I have to go somewhere the next day because it's on E below, and he'll wash it. And I'm like, God bless you. And it's just those kind of things that I'm always grateful for. So when you keep your mind on what is great every day, just think, I'm grateful for my husband for this, this, and this. It'll set your tone for, okay, let's pick up his socks, let's pick up the crumbs, let's do this. Because it's your job. Look at it as your job, your role that you're taking at this point. We've chosen it. I chose it. I clean up, and I do. Do I ask for reciprocation? Do I ask for my family to, hey, pick that up? I went through a lot of work. Or do I say, yeah, But am I going to linger on it? Am I going to make them be responsible for it all the time? Am I going to say, make sure you clean that up next time? I let go of that because I was way more stressed at the fact that even, my boy, who happens to be the type who, wherever he goes, he's like Pigpen. And it's like when he'll make a waffle, he's doing it himself, yay! But the waffle maker looks like it's been through some sort of waffle batter bubble bath. And I'm like, why is there waffle batter on top of the waffle maker? On top. Okay. So instead of being like, gosh darn it, can't you, I'm making it next time. I'm just like, I let it go. And I clean. Keep Elsa's song in your head. Okay. Let it go. Let it go. I'm telling you, your biggest blessing you could ever do to your life is letting majority of the crap you keep in your head going. Let it go. When you quit focusing on that, then they tend to disappear from your life. You'll notice that your husband starts cleaning up, your boy is not that messy, and things are just going your way. Because when you focus on, that's where all the energy goes, and you're going to see more of that. So take the focus off of it. Just pick it up. Don't think anything of it. Clean it up. Big deal. Your kitchen's going to get messy anyway. It ain't going to stay clean for very long anyways. Just clean it up. And I keep saying that, and I know this sweet lady, girl, you know who you are. I know you want some magic bullet, but here really is that it's your job. Just look at it as like if you were cleaning something and someone was a guest in your home and they made a mess. Your job was to clean it up. So I just clean it up. I just clean up, especially when it comes to your husband. Now, your children, they're a little bit more like, hey, you know what? Guess what, kid? Let's help out mama here. But when it comes to your husband, that's really a situation that could be like a stressor point, a lot of friction there. And I've just learned to let those kind of things go. And I will just clean it up and I don't even think a thing of it. And you know what my husband will do? I'll like have the hardest day with, I'm working, I'm videoing it, I'm business stuff, I'm making calls, I got emails, I'm going on Insta story, I've got Waylon all day, changing diapers. He's very clingy to me and I love that, so he's with me everywhere. And I kiss his lips and I'm dog tired and I leave the kitchen. A couple times I'll have to leave the kitchen and all the dinner, the gourmet dinner at that, messy, and I go and take my baby home to his mama at 7 p.m, dark and cold. I come home and I'm dog tired. I'm like, okay, let's do this, Jenny. Let's pick up that kitchen and get some journaling. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of big relief. And my husband will have it spotless. And it's just, that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to tell you, is that when you let things go and you love on people, it'll be reciprocated and it'll delight and surprise you, because your focus isn't on, oh, well, I see, instead of like, if my husband was sitting at home though and he didn't clean it, because sometimes I'll come home and my husband's sitting on the couch. But he's busy all day too, and he does things at night sometimes, cleaning or doing something, and I just sit and read my magazine still. I don't feel like I got to get up and help. I mean, we just got all these, unless of course I feel it and I want to and I feel led. But you guys get the idea. It's just like, it's just, I don't base my joy and happiness on what other people I feel should be doing for me. I let that go a long time ago because I used to be that way, and I know what that does. And it is hell on earth. Whenever I had expectations of how I felt my husband ought to behave, be, and do, my life was hell every single day. It was a fight. It was who did more. It was, maybe then there'd be a breakdown of, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I won't. And then it happened again. My biggest was, I remember having little kids and my husband, I was crying because my babies were crying. I had a ton of little ones at the time. And my husband's like, hey, I'm going to go out for a bike ride. I'm like, a bike ride? We're going on a bike ride now? And I was like, oh, And that was really my epiphany. All of this journey has led me to where I am today. I just started exercising for myself. And then I quit looking at him like, you jerk. I just started taking care of myself. And so I felt good. I'm like, hey, you go. And then he would care for me more, or he would care for my needs when I cared for his. And I'm telling you, quit. The sooner you stop having your emotional health depend on what someone else does, the better off you're going to be. And more of what you want will happen. Your husband will be a miracle to you. all of a sudden he's going to clean up after himself, and you've done nothing except thought differently about what you do, what he does, and you've let that go. I'm telling you, it's like magic. Because when you focus on something that you don't like, you're only going to see it repeating itself over and over and over and over again. Instead, when you put your mind in the right perspective every single morning, and you're going to have to do this one in particular, where you're going to be thinking of things that you are grateful for, that what your husband does do, then you'll notice more of that. And that's why having a gratitude journal and thinking about things that are pure and things that are lovely and things that have good report are way more important to be thinking. It's life or death to be thinking about those things than anything that doesn't happen, because when you think on those things, that's what is in your life. Because your focus is, wherever your focus is where your energy goes. And where your energy goes and your focus is what manifests and what you attract. So I hope that has inspired you to keep your focus in the right place, because by doing more joy and well-being in your life, when you remember to put gratitude first and to focus on the good. Girls, that's all I got. I love you so much. And until I come back with a sequel, bye guys.